Recently I've discovered the concept of nanny state, and I've pursued it because I was wondering if it's an evil or what. Um, O'Reilly has said that he wants to invite over Nancy Pelosi to have a discussion with her on his show. And he went on to say that the government is creating an entitlement program from birth or from the cradle to the grave. So his interpretation is that. But Answer.com has a different one. It says a government perceived as having excessive interest in or control over the welfare of its citizens, especially in the enforcement of extensive public health and safety regulations. So recently, I think it was Bachman who made a big thing about it that the First Lady is hammering up this nanny state situation. I think one way to avoid nanny state and is to be educated. Now, America is generous in its education. There are so many resources out there. And if folks paid attention to the studies, and if they took the studies serious, and if they memorized it, and if they intended to give their bodies to the true concepts they've learned, then it seems as if, especially the First Lady, would have had nothing to say. I know I meet people all the time, and they tell me they don't drink water. They just drink soda, tea, beer, coffee. So I'm asking, I say, don't you know that you just need to drink plain water? No, I get enough water from these things. Well, you know the health implications. Water is straight to be used. The others, there has to be some digestion and all that, and still, who knows? The real thing is to have just pure water. Another thing they do is people that drinking beers and using drugs. You try to say, sir, you know it's going to hurt you, huh? Oh, I'm grown. I could do what I want. But then when they get hurt and the health is adversely affected, they're trying to see if they could get a kidney or some organ transplant. They want to jump the line. And many of them end up dead in the bus shed or end up becoming a street dancer or whatever. So, what's wrong with being a nanny state then? You provided the education, folks are not making effective use of it. I recall when I was going to school, um, I discovered I was getting swacked and spanked a lot. So I quickly learned that if I do the right thing, it's going to be over. I do my assignments, I don't fight, and all that. And after a while, I wasn't being benched and spanked. And so there's so many different things that you see people on the road. They're into playing around with garbage, they're eating out of the garbage bin, spending their money to buy coke and crack and other things, marijuana and so on. And when they need to, they go into the garbage bin. Or they into the garbage bin, then they will take that same nasty hand and take the taco and eat it. And I'm saying, like, oh, you're not afraid to die, huh? So my suggestion then is that if you don't like the nanny state, well, do the right thing. Not according to your standard, but according to established standards. I know other societies that are a little more traditional, where the elderly are appreciated. You find that the young people are constantly learning from the older ones. And so it's not every year individuals are making the same mistake. So what's the point in advancing an education if they're still making the same mistakes? But if we endeavor to do the right thing, appreciate the elderly, try to get some wisdom, and not spend your whole life discovering that this thing never works. Learn quickly and move on to something new. There are a lot of things perhaps still to be developed, but if you're going back trying to invent a wheel and trying to do some crazy stuff, you're just wasting time. And so you will be more eligible to be, given a little lecture, and then you want to say it's nanny state. Finally, as you see men and women going on the road with the pants down, you see the underwear. and the whole of the crutch up walking on the street. I mean, we have belts, we have decency and morality. So if folks are behaving this way, how can you stand by and not ask them to do something different or do the right thing? But if you do that, you're nanny state. Well, I think that, hey, nobody wants to be talked to. Well, let us all decide that we're going to do the right thing. And not my own right thing and your own right thing, but things that are objectively right. And in a way like this, things would be okay. But I see nothing wrong with the nanny state because you have to instruct the young people. And with the generational gap, this continues it. I see people 50, 60 going, you know, I can get some marijuana, you know, I can get some crack. And my question is, you're not too old. When you're going to learn? But they'll call that the nanny state. So I think Mr. Obama is right on trying to get these kids healthy because if everybody is not well, then what kind of society you can have? What kind of productivity you have?